But Mike and his partner Craig Perry are founders of Inventa Capital. We are all the companies that we're talking about today are backed by Inventa Capital. Inventa itself is not a money-making company. It's a company that incubates smaller junior companies, and with the hopes of them growing up and eventually flying off and being on their own. There's been a lot of success within the group, especially Craig. Craig has founded a company called ISO Energy, NextGen. He was chairman of TinOne Resources, all of which are at $1 billion or more of market cap, but started out as smaller penny stock companies. It doesn't happen overnight, but we have a good ability to ride out markets when they're tough, finance at the right time, to foster these projects and get them to a point where you can hopefully coordinate that with the the rise in the market. I guess I got to go back a little bit. I will be making some forward-looking statements, as will Mike here. So if you have any inclination to invest, please read this beforehand. So our mission at Inventa Capital is to provide the elements that the world needs. So we have about 9 different companies in our under our umbrella. Different companies in different commodity groups. This is something that started in 2017 when the market was really out of favor. Some would say it's still out of favor, but to us, I think that's the opportunity. There's an absolute disconnect right now with what we're seeing in the paper market and in most commodities on the physical side. There's just simply not enough materials to get us where we need to go, specifically with electrification and in the industry here. So I think we're well suited over the next while. Today we're going to talk about 3 of the companies. Vizsla Silver, which is the flagship within the group that Mike's going to talk about. Vizsla Silver has a spin-out called Vizsla Copper, which I'll talk about, and then TinOne, which is our little favorite, or my little favorite company here, which most people don't understand, tin. But within the basket, we've got a number of companies up there. You got Vizsla Silver, again, our flagship, which is high-grade silver in Mexico. TinOne Resources, tin and lithium in Australia. Vizsla Copper, which is copper and gold in British Columbia. Archer Exploration, which is nickel in Eastern Canada. Our newest company is Coastal Resources, which is a lithium in Central Canada and Saskatchewan. Target Exploration, which is lithium in Eastern Canada, and then Outback Goldfields, which is high-grade gold exploration in and around the Fosterville mine in Victoria. So we're going to hope to answer the question, why tin, why copper, why silver today? And then maybe talk about why to invest in each of those companies. And then please ask some questions. We'd be happy to answer them for you here. So start off, I'll introduce Mike. He's Senior Vice President, Business Development and Strategy for Vizsla Silver.
I thought we were going to pass the mic, but we can do this. A little bit about my background. I'm a geologist and an engineer with degrees in economics. I have worked at pre-producing and producing mines, both in gold and silver. I've worked for large companies and small companies, and most recently I was an equity analyst, actually, with Canaccord Genuity. I was an analyst who actually launched coverage on Vizsla. I saw the writing on the wall here with these large step-outs really starting to form a nice, impressive resource base right at surface. And most people don't realize the silver districts are far more rare than gold districts. And when you can find one and piece it together, such as what we have down in Mexico, these are absolutely transformational. They're company builders. In fact, the most direct analog to what we have is 80 kilometers to the north. It's his First Majestic's flagship mine, San Dimas. It does 12.5 million ounces per annum. It's been in production for 100 years, 11 million ounces of gold, over 600 million ounces of silver. This asset, it actually built Gold Corp. It actually built Silver Wheaton, which is now Wheaton Precious Metals. So these types of assets are transformational. We believe we have one now. And in just a very rapid time frame, we've listed on the NYSE American. We've listed on the Venture Exchange. We do about $250,000 in volume daily on each, about $1 million in value. And we've outlined a very robust resource, again, right at surface, all open in every direction, in a very rapid time frame. So we put out our maiden resource in March of 2022. That was 107 million ounces, grading roughly 360 grams per ton. These are combined, so that's indicated and inferred. About 50-50 split. 9 months later, we doubled that resource, over 100% increase in contained metal, with almost a 30% pop to the overall grade profile. And of course, I've mentioned this in the last presentation, this is a very, very low-cost exploration program. We're finding ounces at around 15 cents per ounce right now. Now, that will likely change as we go more towards that development stage, which is exactly what we're marching towards right now. But suffice to say, we've got lots of open targets. We've got an excellent resource base, which to anchor the value of the project now, and then convert that into a development scenario while simultaneously continuing to explore this vast district. Now, I'm talking a lot, and there's no fun visuals to look at, so we do have something nice to show you. You're the first. How do I move forward here? You'll be the first to see this. So the disclaimers are. Debut. Yeah, this is the debut. So I just hit play here. Let's see.
My name is Michael Conrad. I'm the founder and CEO of Vizsla Silver. I always loved mining from when I was a teenager onwards. You know, the first stock I ever bought was when I was 13 years old. It was Agnico Eagle. So I kind of found my way working with companies, finding mentors. And in 2018, we started Vizsla Silver. We knew that there was high-grade mineralization here at Panuco, and we consolidated a district, and by doing that, unlocked a huge amount of value.
Vizsla is a very well-capitalized, aggressive explorer, arguably the most aggressive junior explorer in the entire silver industry. There's a dearth of quality silver assets in the world right now, particularly primary silver, which is exactly what Panuco is.
Silver is extremely important. It's in electric vehicles, in computing, in solar energy, basically everything that we need to achieve our sustainable goals in 2030 and beyond.
All of us have silver in our cell phones, all of us have silver in our EVs, and this is just going to continue to increase in demand. Where's the silver going to come from?
If you want to solve the world's silver problem, you have to come to Mexico. So we think we're just starting here. I believe that Panuco can be a very long-lived mine.
I'm really excited about Panuco because of all the potential. The potential is big. We have over 7,000 hectares.
This property is the size of the island of Manhattan. It's about 14 kilometers long by 7 kilometers wide.
So we continue drilling step outs, 50 meters, 100 meters step out drilling, and we continue finding mineralization.
We're finding targets much faster than we can drill test them.
We scaled up so quickly. We went from 0 rigs in 2019 to 12 rigs in 2022 and over 250,000 meters of drilling in that time period. For us to have such a low discovery cost of 15 cents per ounce just shows how efficient we are with drilling. And we drilled one of the highest grade silver intercepts, 6 meters of 8 kilos silver equivalent, and we're able to tap into our first round of institutional financing. We raised $30 million on the back of that hole.
Where our resource sits is on less than 10% of the known veins we have.
Napoleon, Copala, Tajitos, and Cristiano. These are the main structures in our resource, and we believe that these are going to be the key to unlocking the first 10 to 15 years of mine life for the project.
Mexico has a long, rich mining history. We've got phenomenal community support, over 200 employees on site, 70% are made up of the local communities.
You know, this is the best infrastructure project that many of us have ever seen. There's rail, there's a port, there's everything that you need, including highways to the project from Mazatlan.
We've got 2 highways that bisect the property that adds additional security. We've got high tension power that also runs parallel.
And you have communities here that have been mining for hundreds of years, so you have an excellent skilled workforce. We have long-term production agreements with the local ejidos, which is so important. All of these ingredients are what are required to build a mine, and we have potentially one of the world's largest silver districts in the making here, and we just barely scratched the surface.
Where we are here, located in the central portion of the district, we've got amazing rhyolite dome complex where you typically have mineralization, large mineralized systems proximal to these types of complexes. And where we are, there's been a road that's cut through so you can actually see the alteration within this complex. So given its size is another indication that there's a large potential mineral body beneath us.
We believe that Panuco can be one of these very long-lived, very large-scale mines. We have the scale, the size, and the grade to become one of the world's great silver districts. We're trying to maximize value here, not only for the communities that we work in, but for all of our stakeholders and certainly our shareholders.
In my opinion, this project is a world-class silver district in the making. I've got a young family. We often joke they'll be finding veins here when our kids are having kids.
A little promo of what it's like to be on site. It's a very, very big project, and you know, as you probably gathered from that, we're just getting started. You know, we're scratching the surface of a scratch, and the statistical likeliness that we found the best right off the bat is very, very unlikely. So, again, exploration project that's successful. Has a market cap that is likely higher than the actual capex required to put this project into production. We're very, very focused on delineating these resources, proving them up, and putting them into reserves to drive that production scenario. You want to go talk about copper next? Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you're listed on New York?
That's correct.
How long have you been listed on New York?
I believe it was December or January of 2022. I think we started applying.
Of your shareholder base, how much would be represented in New York?
That's a good question. I don't have that answer. We do market quite heavily across the U.S., and I'd say some of our largest institutional shareholders are based in the United States.
So put it another way, you said you trade about $1 million a day. How much would that be represented in New York?
About half.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good question. We get asked this quite often. You know, cartels are part of Mexico. Where we are in Sinaloa, there's one. It's a pretty well-established group that's been around for a long time. We like to say a couple points. One, the highways. These guys are focused on, you know, their illegal activities off in remote areas. We're right smack dab in the middle of two highways that provide an added layer of security. The second thing is, given there's just one group versus areas to the south or states that are up to the north, closer to border, they're not battling each other, right? Which can add a lot of conflict for other foreign investment or other businesses, right? And so we feel confident in that regard. We bring our young families down here, as mentioned. There's no armed security. There's no fences that we have. We just have communication with our local communities. And at this stage, we've got no worries about operating in Mexico. No issues. The only issue that has presented itself was at the beginning of the year. There was a bit of a dust-up from the capture of one of the El Chapo's son. And all that did was prevent a few blockades, but nothing with our project, nothing with our head office in Mazatlan.
4 minutes left.
I'll pass it. Oh, yep. Yes. Yeah, there was a mining reform that was tabled in I guess it was end of March, early April, and the real bullet there was reducing the concession timelines. From 30 years, they went all the way down to 15 years, but that's just frankly not feasible. On average, it takes about 7 years in Mexico to go from discovery to initial production. And so that concession timeline reduction was we never viewed it as being real. It was almost, let's try and get as much as we can and march back towards a happy medium. And that's exactly what's happened. It's now been pushed back, and now you have a 30-year with the ability to apply for extensions. And frankly, with our concessions, everything has been grandfathered because this was after the fact. So the average timeline remaining at our concessions is 28 years. I know we don't have much time. We can do more questions, but I'll pass to Chris.
Apparently I have 2 minutes to talk about two companies, so we'll do it quick. All right, so I mean, we've got Vizsla Copper and Vizsla Silver. I obviously can't go into it too much, but Vizsla Copper, we're just getting going here. If you're going to bank on one commodity over the next decade, it's got to be copper, and we've got a project that has a lot of work put into it in, arguably the best jurisdiction that is littered with other copper mines. We've got a drilling program that has just started. So we'll have our first results in the next 6 to 8 weeks coming out. We're well financed, and it's really a project that is going to make waves. It'll separate itself from other BC copper projects in that it's a higher grade than what you're seeing around it as well. So we're just starting, we're just getting out there to tell this story, and we'll have quite a bit of news flow starting here in about 6 or 8 weeks. And then TinOne, nobody follows the tin market, but if you want to, we'll call it your fun money. It's something to watch. The tin market swings very heavily. We saw the all-time high at 50,000 a ton last March, then it collapsed down to 17,000 within 8 months, and then it doubled within 2 months after that. So if you catch it on the right swing, it can be very lucrative for you. The reality is there are two geopolitical activities or initiatives that have been put forward. One in Myanmar, where they're curtailing production at the end of this month. That's 10% of world production. And you've got Indonesia, which is 25%, which are halting exports. So that's potentially 35% of tin coming off the market. And that could be an absolute shock and something to absolutely watch for at the back half of this year. We've got my email here, or you come and talk to me. I'll give you a couple articles on that, and it's quite a compelling case. So thanks again for your time here, and a big thank you to Rick Rule, who's put on one of the most engaging conferences that we've been to in a long time. We're at booth 32. We'll be here for the next few days, and I don't think we have time for any more questions, but I can take them offline. Thanks so much.